there's some stuff happens, isn't there? Especially when we need control, but we feel out of control. Yeah? Any recognition of this sort of stuff? Yeah? And actually, when you see it all in one page, it's a bit much, isn't it? You know, we think of our immunity, or we think about getting cranky, or whatever it is, we're not really making great decisions, or we can't sleep so well. But actually, when you see it all together, you think, ooh, that's dangerous. Right? That makes sense. Now, here's the opposite. So resilience, and we will get into the definition of it in more, but your resilience is your ability to adapt. It is valid, it is pertinent in all of your life, in both adversity, but also in all the positive changes that you're going to make. You know, that need for adaptability is, by God, if you're going to get married, you have to adapt. You know, if you're going to get a new house, you're going to adapt. You know, these big changes, small changes. If you're going to make a difference to your diet and you decide to actually eat breakfast every morning even though you don't feel it, you actually have to kind of have the skills and capability to make that adaptive. Yeah? And stick at it. Yeah? So resilience is your ability to adapt, or your capacity for change. And that's where control and stress sort of show up. Those with the highest resilience absolutely take the responsibility for controlling what they ought to control and can control, both of those things together. And they let go of everything else. So that ability to go, if they needed to a high level of control versus, laid back, okay? They have that flexibility. It's really interesting, isn't it? Those with the highest resilience don't have the stress reaction. I'll leave you with the thought, and I'll explain more. And here's a really interesting thing. Confidence is an outcome of your resilience. It's not an input. You don't need to be confident to be resilient. It's as a result of being resilient that you are confident. It's as a result of Susie's resilience that she could stand there and be nervous and still deliver something that was really a privilege to hear. Yeah? Does that make sense? Yeah? And it's meaningful for her. She's skilled at it, even though she thinks she may not be. She's not listening, but yeah? So actually, you know, it's resilience and her ability to be able to know that she's done it before, draw on that, or her skills. All her resources are available to her in that nervous moment. Doesn't take away from the nerves, okay, but she's still resilient, and she's confident enough to actually take the jump, leave her job, set up, change her world. I mean, it's pretty mega, right? So that is a fantastic thing. Does that sound attractive? Okay. So, what resilience is? I'm guessing that some of you might have thought it was about coping. Who would have described it as coping? Put your hands up so I see you. Okay, so a few. Bounce back. Yeah, surviving. Okay. There might be other words like flexibility. Did anyone think about that? Yeah, okay. Can be about strength. Do people think about, you know? And there's words around like mental toughness. Whoa, no. Right? Nah. Do you know what you get with toughness? You get brittleness. Do you know what brittleness is? It's the opposite of adaptability. Really interesting, isn't it? Really interesting. Think about that. So this is a biggie, and it's really attractive. So my invitation to you today is to invest in your resilience right now, right here. Of course you are. By being here, you're giving yourself a treat. You're coming and thinking about yourself. But there are a couple of things that you could do walking away from here that actually are very practical. This is a really, really helpful thing. There are lots of things around really practical. There are some deep psychological things. There are things related to your inner beliefs. Yeah? But by goodness, you can get a whole long way by doing stuff that's actually really simple. Okay? And around the room, things like energy, inspiration, getting help, all these things are related to resilience. So let's bring you to this. You have a little postcard of this on your table, and you're very welcome to take that away, and you can write on it. That's why I left them there, so you can scribble on it as we're going through this. So this is out of our 10 years of research. So the very first thing is resilience being your ability to adapt, okay? That's number one. And therefore, there's a contiguous nature between coping all the way through to people who are really thriving. It is not different, right? It's on the same path. It is available to everybody. It's learnable, right? People who have the highest resilience, who don't suffer from stress, who are resourceful and adaptable at any point, right, have learnt this stuff, okay? And it's very learnable. It's practical. So, number one, it's your ability to, adapt. Secondly, it's dynamic. It shifts about the place. It's not exactly a slippery bar of soap. It is a practice, so you can get hold of it. But it does shift. So today, your resilience may be different than yesterday's. If you've had a bad sleep, your resilience will be slightly different than it was the day before, yeah? In a context where, for example, you might get frozen, that's a stress reaction where you freeze, your resilience might be lower, but in another situation it might be great, yeah? So, again, I'll use Susie. Susie was not rendered unresourceful standing here, but she was nervous. So there was a bit of kind of that stress reaction going on. But, now she's feeling fine. Because I'm up here doing that now. Yeah? So it actually changes slightly depending upon the context, but it can change massively. So you could have a different resilience in your home life than your work life. You could have a different resilience with certain people, in work than others. There might be some idiots in work that you can't stand being with, and you feel absolutely rubbish with them, and your resilience is lower. And then you go to your own team, and they're fine. Yeah? That happens all the time. Okay. So, secondly, it's dynamic. There are three main states of resilience. Breakdown, it coincides exactly with a clinical breakdown. Okay? It's where you're rendered unresourceful. You cannot get hold of the insides of you, how you think, how you act, what you should do. Your physical resources are rendered kind of, in difficulty. Yeah. So, and it's a real place of loss. It's a tremendously profound state. Interestingly, it's a state of renewal because it's all out there. People understand it, you've understood it, you've probably been, with your doctor around it, and actually that place to get help from is a place of renewal. So you can actually renew from that. As a coach, I can actually coach people who are in breakdown, which is really interesting. So that's an interesting thing for you also, to think about that. The next state up is the kind of okay. It's all right. It was nothing fantastic. It's just okay, but it's at least okay. Break even, we call it, right? One side of which is coping. That business of how many people feel that they're juggling, right? Who's not juggling? You're not juggling. This lady here is not juggling, okay? She's the one. And you were less juggly because you were down on this side. They were the ones and twos in the room. On the control side. So most of us are actually in that world, family, work, parents, health. If any of you are here and suffer the superwoman trait, you know that one? Oh yeah, we can fly as well. Okay, yeah, you get the gist, but actually we will do that. So last night I was at IKEA buying the stuff for the kitchen at 9 o'clock and then coming home and painting the wall. And I know this stuff about myself and I'm like, you are such a dumbo. I'm speaking today, but I thought it'd be quite funny for you to hear it. So, we are all there, right? We are superwomen, we can do all these things. But we actually render ourselves often into coping. because of that. Now, and the other side of which, and on break even, where things are okay, and actually for those of you who are kind of quite interested in you're ambitious for something, it might be sport, it might be work, it might be being on Bake Off, you could be in bounce back, okay? People who are in bounce back rise to the challenge, and then they fall off again. And then they rise to the next one, and then they fall off again. Yeah? Is that a familiar sort of thing for anybody? That kind of feeling of, oh, here's another thing. Okay, I can do it. That was definitely me last night. I can do it. But then, oh my God, I'm tired at the end of it. Yeah? So, and that's an interesting state because actually we get a lot done in that. Yeah? I mean, and often control is upon us. We have to do things. We have to be able to get things done. So bounce back, but it only sits in the middle. And that's what's really amazing for me when I did this research initially. Okay, so this is the middle of, of all of resilience levels. Then there's this big long line that we technically call the whoosh. Okay, the whoosh. And there is another state of resilience, which is what we call breakthrough, where no matter what is going on, you remain resourceful, you may remain energized, and you are adaptable, right? Now that's the level that is attainable by everybody here. You can be like this, and often you will be near it in certain contexts, right? If you're healthy and, if you've got a reasonable health. It's really interesting, right? So somebody here is incredibly flexible. Yeah? That makes sense. Yeah? One more thing on this. Pre-breakdown, there is a state which we call fragmentation, where things just begin to crack up a bit, where things get a bit narky, or your health goes, or that way when you go on holiday. Anyone ever experienced going on holiday and they get ill? Yeah, and you're just really bummed by it. You go, this is my holiday, I'm not supposed to be unwell, but it's actually all the damage was being done sort of previously because you were going like a nutter. Yeah. So, it's really interesting that signs of fragmentation, early signs would be illness, not being able to sleep, feeling a bit narky, not having great relationships, feeling that you just can't get through things. That's fragmentation. But you can pull yourself back from fragmentation, back to coping. And coping is good in that situation. Yeah? Where do you think the highest stress is? The kind of negative stress reaction? Anyone? Coping? Coping is quite high. Where else? Breakdown, and interestingly, yes, but you've almost gone through a different stage. Okay, so the stress reaction where you're sort of hijacked by the cortisol running around your system and you can't think straight, when breakdown, often you're kind of slightly just beyond that, and in fact there's a relief related with having to admit what's going on. Yeah. Where else? Fragmentation. Fragmentation is one of the high stress things, but the other thing is people oscillate up and down between fragmentation and coping. I'm not coping, I need to get back to coping. I'm not coping, I need to get back to coping. I'm not coping, I need to get back to coping. And then when you keep going and it keeps happening, you can't believe this is going on again. It feels just a bit out of control, right? Yeah. Where do you think there's the highest need for control? Coping definitely is, and not coping. So I notice my control freaky thing, I'm now, if I'm actually feeling okay about stuff, I really, really don't need control. I'm way at the other side. But if things are going really badly wrong and it's urgent, I move much more to here. Okay? So I actually know in myself that I seek control when I am stressed. Okay? when I'm really feeling quite stressed and that stress reaction is going on. And it's a really great indicator that actually I'm on the wrong things. I should be investing in my resilience and not trying to be a control freak. I would love to be able to offer you a couple of other things, okay? So number one, what resilience is, and the implications for yourself, okay? And we'll get to that at the end. But if you are in coping, all right, there are some very simple things you can do, okay? But there might be some things that are holding you back as well. The very first thing I want to offer you is the 3 top barriers of resilience. And I'd like, as I'm going through these, for you to decide which one of these resonates with you most, okay? So the first one is weak or no boundaries, right? So I'm going to come down onto the floor here. Sorry, what's your name? Susan. So I'm going to demonstrate this with Susan. Susan, I'm going to come right up to you and really close, right? And you may be very uncomfortable. Okay, so she's already uncomfortable just with the idea of it. If you can't see this, you're welcome to stand. So I'm just going to come up to Susan, and I'm going to flout completely what her boundaries are. All right, and I'm telling her that I'm going to do it. And actually, she's pretty good right now. Oh, no, here's the nerves, right? And this is too close. I have been touching noses before. Yeah, thank you very much. Now, I told Susan what I was going to do. But do you know what you need to be safe? If you don't know, then figure it out, because actually that's the important thing. If you know it, do you ask for it? Question. I need, for me to be okay in this, I would like, what do you need? I need that. How can we work on those needs together? Okay, that's number one. Number 2. So there are 2 people in the room who may not be busy, but who is busy? Yeah? Anyone? Yeah? About a third of you? Who's pretty busy? Okay, so just be aware of this. Your busyness is actually draining your resilience. Some of you have postcards on your table as well, is those with the highest resilience get busy for only 2/3 of their time. 2/3. It's not the 80-20 rule, it's actually 65%. 65% of their time is spent on activity, and the rest is getting things like refreshing themselves, perspective, pacing, seeing things down the line. What you're shifting is from reactive to proactive. Really interesting. So capacity expectations are too high. Superwoman in the room, be aware. And the last one is DIY. Okay, who finds it easy to ask for help? Go on, keep your hands up. Who finds it easy to ask for help? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We must be about 80 to 100 people in the room. 6% of us find it easy to ask for help. Okay, so have you got which one is most resonant for you? Right? I mean, you know, that DIY means that you don't ask for help, yeah? You got one? Okay, I'm going to just stand. Anyone whose top barrier for their resilience might be boundaries. Don't know what they want or they don't ask for it. Stand up. Okay. Secondly, capacity too high. Capacity expectations, too high. Busy. That's about a third of you. Okay. All right. Thank you. And sit down. And the last one, DIYers. Yes, let's hear it for the DIYers. We win the room. Okay. So here's your challenge. Right? What one thing could you do to loosen that, to change that in an easy context, in an easy thing? It could be at home, it could be with your partner, it could be with your mate, okay? What one thing could you do to change that? I don't think I've got time to let them talk. Yeah, I've got the 5 minutes. So that's a challenge, yeah? Is that an interesting one? Do one, just on your thing, right? What one change could you make, okay? And notice the difference. And if it's beginning to work, then do it again. Do it again and again. Do it tomorrow and the next day and the next day, and then do it with more people or in more situations. Yeah, just keep doing that one thing and just see for yourself if it makes a difference. Yeah? Okay. Now the next thing is the top enablers. There are 3 top enablers, and the first 2 in particular are relevant for all levels of resilience. So the ability to be able to be. Anyone do mindfulness here? Yes, hand straight up, that lady in the middle. Good on you. You're a proud practitioner of mindfulness. Anyone do yoga? Pilates, that sort of thing, yeah? Anyone like going for a walk with the dog by themselves? Yeah? Now, a lot of this is about connecting, isn't it? It's just about being, it's not about thinking, and maybe a whole lot of stuff is going on in your head, but it's being able to be here, right now. Okay? And often if you're doing that busy, or it's all about me and I'm having to do it by myself, which a lot of you had, yeah? Actually giving yourself the right to 5 minutes, it will change your perspective. So literally what happens, and we know this from the research, is when we are like this, can we see all the options? We're blinkered, right? When we are able to be present, we are much more flexible. Does that make sense? It's just about how to do it, okay? So already I am doing it by slowing down. You might be doing it right now by noticing that the chair is holding you up. You actually don't have to do anything. You can be at ease in your chair. The simple act of just noticing is incredibly powerful. Okay. The next one is the one that I want to spend a little bit of time on, is energy. That's your physical energy, so you can do and talk to 5 times 50. It's your, massage. It's your physical energy, your mental energy, your emotional energy, your spiritual energy. Where do you get inspired? Do you get hold of that oomph? That wonder, right? Connecting to that is just a wonderful thing, okay? So, I'm going to ask you one question. I think I probably wouldn't have time to let you discuss it, is what one thing can you do this week, maybe every day, to increase your energy? Okay? So one thing, are you thinking about it? I can see everybody in the front going, yeah, right? You know that thing about getting a better sleep? Yes. That thing about eating well? Yes. That thing about phoning that friend that you have a real laugh with that you haven't spoken with for a year? Yes. That thing about saying to your kids, me time, shut the door. Okay? Yeah? Laughing, fun, inspiration, going to a gallery, getting art, going out and seeing beautiful nature. These are all immensely resilience building, very practical. If you are not doing it, you're draining your resilience and therefore your adaptability, and you could slip into coping. Okay? The last one is learning. Who's a doer in here? Describe themselves as doers. Okay? Please notice this in relation to control, stress, and the DIY. Okay? Who are thinkers? Okay? So for each of you, you need to be able to do both to learn well. There's more about learning that we could give you. Obviously, come and see me afterwards. And I want to leave you with this. Your resilience is like a river. There's a reservoir, but actually the river is flowing. And there are rocks in the river, and some pebbles and what have you, okay? When the river is high, the resilience river is high, you just whoosh over those rocks, okay? You can see them for what they are. You've got perspective on them. One is big and one is small, and and you're not taken off course. You're not split in your energies. Yeah, the resilience is running high. When the resilience river is low, every rock feels sore. Little rocks are out of perspective. Big rocks are going to take you out of the path, okay? You can get caught and eddy. You can get split. A lot of the time, people get fixated on what the rocks are in their life. My invitation to you is to get your resilience river up. Then you'll know which ones are the most important to deal with.